Hi guys, welcome to Life is for the Living. Today's topic is about losing weight. Yeah, what you can do and maybe what you're doing wrong, and reasons as to why maybe you're not shedding the excess weight that you have. And then, so we just want to talk about sustainably, sustainable ways of, weight loss so that you can be able to, lose the weight and also, keep the extra pounds away. Like if you try to make, we're not looking at quick fixes here, so we're going to talk about things that are sustainable and healthy. So before I begin, I want to give a shout out to a lady by the name Nuseba. Thank you for subscribing to our channel and leaving a comment some time back. So if you want to be like Nuseba, like our video and leave a comment below, and we'll give you a shout out in the next vlog. Now, number one reason as to why you're not losing weight, it's because of how you eat. Food. Okay, the biggest problem that you have, like it's this, the mouth. You know, you have to be mindful of what goes in there. That said, it doesn't mean that you cut off, some things from your diet. What we're saying is everything that you will eat, you have to make sure that it really is necessary. Because these are some of the things that actually maybe cause the extra weight that you're trying to shed, and you've been trying to do it over time. But okay, now, in as much as we are talking about food, the major reason, unless it's medical, and when I talk about medical, I'm just talking about, in extreme cases where you put on some strict diet by the doctor, or maybe you're hurt in a certain way that you can't do some activities. Now, that's what I'm talking about. But then any other thing, I'm so sure when you go to the doctor, they will still tell you the same things. So when we talk about food, let's talk about like how are we supposed to go about this issue called food. Now, there's something we call healthy eating. Let us look at what's on your plate, Now, regardless of whatever you're eating, make sure that your plate has a balanced diet. So when you talk about balanced diet, what are we? I mean, it's something that, of course, by now, all of us know what a balanced diet is. Make sure that your plate has, vitamins, it has the proteins, it has, the carbohydrates, all the starch that is needed. Keep balancing. But even as we're saying we're balancing, how are we going to balance this thing? Which one should be more and which one should be less? Of course, eat less of the carbs, but I'm not saying cut carbs. I've seen people trying to avoid some carbs, like they're not taking bread, they stop taking rice, they stop, this channel is about living. These things we can't do without them. So we're going to look at ways in which we can be able to lose the weight, but still eat whatever you want to eat, So what we're saying, the first thing is you have to be mindful of what you eat, in what portions that you're eating, So when we talk about the portion, okay, what I normally do, because most of the lessons that I'm going to be giving here, it's something that I have tried them and they have worked for me. Now, initially I just used to have maybe like, I've done several experiments. Like you take like, just a normal plate that you use for eating. I know, like the way people feel food, like you've even been, okay, maybe in your home, you've seen how people serve food, or maybe even in parties where you feel someone fills a plate until there's food pouring, like there's just something that just goes too much and everybody can see. But what I normally do, like especially when I'm at home, I use this to serve like, before I used to serve one big plate, of course not like a lot, but then I realized sometimes, you've seen like sometimes you serve, you eat, and then you find you're full and you can't finish the food. And since sometimes you can throw the food away, you say, okay, I don't want to waste it. Let me just try and finish, Now, that's where your problems begin. So what I normally do is I usually take a small bowl, and I serve in small, like when I finish that bowl and I still need more, I'll go and serve. And it's actually really small. So by the time you actually do it twice or thrice, you feel it twice or thrice, I'm telling you, you're full. Like actually your mental, like your mind will tell you like you've eaten a lot. But then when you actually measure the size of how much you've eaten compared to like how much you'd have eaten if you had just done a whole serving, you'll find that you've eaten less. So one, that's how I try to, control my portions. Two, take time to eat. There are people who are just like they're always eating on the go. You grab something, you're talking, you're walking, you're eating, you're not paying attention, you are there watching TV, you're eating, that way you can't even like pay much attention to how much you're eating. And then also you will not take a lot of, you not pay much attention to like even the way you're eating it. You need to chew your food properly before you swallow. You know, the way people are people who eat like very fast, and then, those are the things that cause indigestion. Those are the things that, so it's important that whenever it's time to eat, try to put things aside and just take your 10 minutes, your 20 minutes, and eat your food, chew your food properly, look at the portions you're taking. Then after that, go ahead with whatever you were doing. Now, another way, towards healthy eating, try as much as possible not to drink your calories. When I say drinking calories, like, most of these juices that we take, like, like what I'm saying, it's not like don't drink them. Yeah, I've said everything is done in moderation, but then try as much as possible have solid, full, like there are people who like, extract juices out of, fresh fruits and then throw away, the pulp, and then they just drink the juices. That's just like now just pumping a lot of sugar in your body, and then, the ravages and the, all that. So I prefer you eat the fruit than actually maybe extracting the juice out of it. But I'm saying once in a while it's not bad to extract the juice, but then if, because we talk about losing weight, so if you're gonna lose weight, try to eat more than drink your food. All right. Also, it's important to have more proteins in your, in your diet. Now, on your plate, if you have more proteins, actually proteins have a way of, making you feel fuller and for longer, and they also help, in building muscles. So it's always good. And when I'm talking about muscles, I'm not saying like, those bodybuilders or something. Remember, you were trying to lose fat. That's what's making you look, put on the weight. So you're trying to lose fat. But if you don't eat proteins, then you'll have, this kind of skin that, that is saggy. So it's always good to eat proteins, so that even as you're burning the fats, yeah, there is, something that is being replaced, in your body. So you're not losing muscle. So it's always good to, eat proteins as part of your meal. And then avoid excessive snacking. There are people who are always eating, like after every few minutes, wherever, they're always just binging or eating on something. Try to avoid excessive snacking, and especially unhealthy snacks. Once in a while, like you feel hungry, eat an apple, eat a banana, eat a slice of, watermelon, that's okay. But if you always have like, a chocolate bar in your bag, you're always having like, these are the kind of snacks I'm talking about. Like you always have a bag of chips there. Now, this is what you might not feel like you're eating, but then actually it's, registering in your body as, extra calories that actually you can avoid. I think I've talked enough about food, right? Now, a second way to try and, lose weight or keep the, the pounds away is by exercise. That's where most people don't like. Most people don't like exercising. And now even when we talk about exercise, I'm not saying hit the gym hard. No. Walk, take the stairs, Instead of the elevator, get used to taking the stairs. Maybe you're on the 10th floor. Yeah. Just going up and down the stairs on a daily, it's equivalent to, someone probably who is going to the gym. You can walk, you can cycle, there are so many ways you can exercise. Don't sit for a very long time, at the same, even if you're in the office, take sometimes even a 5 minutes, walk around the office, stretch, just don't be seated. So exercise is very important, and it's recommended at least take half an hour or 30 minutes worth of exercise daily. Yeah. So maybe you don't have time. You can always maybe do your 10 minutes or your 15 minutes in the morning, and then come and do your 15 minutes in the evening, But yeah, so you can do that, on a daily, or at least 4 to 5 times a week, That way you're able to burn. And actually when it comes to putting on weight, actually it's 80% what you eat and 20% exercise. So exercise just help to, keep your body active, increase the rate of your metabolism, but then it's more of what you eat. All right, so we've talked about exercise, we've talked about food. Now let's talk about even the type of exercise. Like try to balance, do cardio and strength training. Strength training, helps you to tone your body. Okay, I have quite a number of exercises that I'm posting on this channel, and I'll be posting more so you can see some of the strength training. There are those with weights or without weight. You can just still use your body weight, just as resistance, and then you can be able to, do a little bit of toning and weight training. That way, it helps you lose fat and, increase your muscles in the body. All right, so we've talked about training, what type of training that is required. Now, sleep. I've talked about this in a previous vlog. It's very important to rest. At least 7 to 8 hours of sleep is recommended if you want to lose weight. So, there's nothing much to talk about that. Try not to translate. Don't translate. Try to, go to bed. Sleep and have a good restful night so that you can be able to face, another day, with so that your body can have some sort of, rest and can be able to recover. So sleep is very important. The next thing is hydrate. Drinking water. You see, these are just simple things that we are told to do, but then we try maybe 1 week and then another week we forget. But if you do this thing, you just build it in your ethos, just make it like your norm, the weight will just start going away. You'll just start hearing people telling you about like, oh, you're looking different or whatever, and you'll not be doing anything extra. It's just these small things that you need to change in your normal routine. And then also try to reduce stress. I know we live in a stressful world nowadays, but then there are some stresses that, sometimes, like, especially if maybe it's work related stress. You're so stressed at work that you can't even eat. You don't take breaks to eat. You don't take a breath to even, break to stretch. Now, those are some of the things that take a toll on your body. So it's always good, in as much as, yes, we live in a stressful world, try to find a way of coping with it. Or try to avoid unnecessary stresses. Again, I'm going to do another vlog about just, there are those stresses that honestly, they are so unnecessary, but we kind of just tend to take them up and then they become part of us, and now that becomes another problem. All right, so I've talked about eating. So let me see if I've left anything out. I talked about food. I've talked about hydrating. I've talked about exercising. I've talked about sleep. Yeah. And then what else have I left out? So basically, those are some of the things that you really need to take care of. And that way, when you follow these things, your weight will just go. So anyway, try. Now, lastly, before maybe I end this vlog, I want to talk about different types. That we have so even when we talk about eating, how can we be able to, when should we eat? Or what are some of the, maybe plans we should follow? Now, there are so many plans out there that people do follow, of which, okay, I have done quite a number. I'm going to mention a few, and then let's see how they worked for me. Now, the first thing that I have done, and I've seen it work, though, of course, it is something that gives you results in a very short time, a short time, but then not very sustainable, meaning you have to follow up with something. The first thing I normally do after some time is something we call detox. I try to detox. Now detoxing is one way of trying to give my gut, my system a break. You see, in the same way you work maybe a whole year and you're given a month, leave, or the way students always go to school and they have to close and they have to, just relax, during the holidays. Your body is the same. It's always working 24/7. You're always putting like a lot of toxins in it. You're always eating and there's so much that keeps accumulating. So sometimes you need to get, expand the excess toxins in your body. So how do I do that? Sometimes I do. Okay, there are like programs like, there is one I saw, there's a lady called Jen Mokami. I've done her 10-day detox. That's very effective. Like, actually, if you follow that, like strictly, you could actually lose like, I think it's almost like in 10 days I'd lost like almost 8 to 9 kilos, because just excess weight. Then after that, now again I had to follow up with something that is more sustainable. So do a detox. So you can do that, or you can even do water detox. Now by water is like, you can actually fast for some days. Like for instance, you can say like maybe on Sundays or a certain day that maybe you're not like going to work, you can say you can just do, just a water fast, like you're just drinking water. Now, you're not putting extra calories and then you're just trying to make your system, just recover. So you can detox your body. That helps to also, keep your cells and keep your body healthy. But that has to be followed by, a sustainable, thing, especially if you're doing like the 10 days detox program or a 3 days detox program. It's something that you have to, again, follow up with a certain kind of, a sustainable kind of program. Now, another one that I have tried is what it's normally called OMAD, or 1 meal a day. Now, 1 meal a day, this is where like you only eat once a day. You decide whatever hour you eat, but make sure like you eat enough calories that will last you for 24 hours. Well, it's also effective, yeah, but then of course you can't live like that like forever. Like you can't just like from now on till eternity that you'll only be eating 1 meal a day. But then it's something that you can also try to, as you're trying to shed the excess weight, you can also, that's one way of also try to put some calories, off by, just dedicating or designating a certain time. Like say maybe say you eat at 5 in the evening, or you eat at 3 in the afternoon or 7 in the morning. Your mind will, will adjust that the next meal will be after 24 hours, that will be the following day at 7. So, but make sure whenever you're eating, maybe you're going on the OMAD kind of plan, make sure again within that meal it's balanced, it's enough calories to, keep you going. And then after that, you can always just be taking like water. I mean, you can take maybe unsweetened tea, you can take things like green tea, throughout to keep you until again the next main meal. That's also another thing that works a lot. And then, but the one that I love the most is what I call intermittent fasting. That one I always find like that is something that I'm doing and I've done over time, and it works for me. Now here I have like, I eat within an 8-hour window period and then fast for 16 hours. Now, sometimes when you tell someone fast for 16 hours, it looks like, wow, that's like a lot of time. I can do it. Now, remember when you talk, a day has 24 hours. Now, let's say if you're fasting for 16 hours, let's say if my last meal is at 5 in the evening. So if it's 5 in the evening, then let's count 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By 9 the following morning, 9 or 10, I would have done, I would have fasted for 16. And that is the time that we normally wake up anyway. So if by 9 or 10 in the morning, you'll not be that hungry, because remember the whole time, if at night you're sleeping, it counts for the 16 hours. So, but generally, like my system is so used to it that whenever I eat, like I don't even have to count the hours. Sometimes I even surpass the 16. Sometimes I go even to 18 hours. But then during the 8-hour or the 6-hour eating period, I just make sure I eat a balanced diet, I feed well. But then again, when it comes to, that time that I'm not eating, again, I don't have problems with, excess eating and stuff. My body's just used to it because I hydrate a lot. I always feel fuller. So that is like the best, and I've tried over time, and actually I'm doing it even right now, and it really works. So intermittent fasting is something that I can recommend. And then lastly, now after maybe you've taken out some sort of diet regime, like it's either OMAD, intermittent, or whatever. Now you can also pick, now like there is the, now when we talk about portion control, is where you eat very little meals but on the often, like every 4 to 5 hours you're eating. But that can also be a bit challenging in terms of, that's like actually what is most recommended. But I don't know how that works, because every 4 to 5 hours, sometimes you're busy or somewhere, it takes you like 6 hours, 7 without it. Anyway, if you can actually do that, like eating small meals on a regular, again, that's really, really recommended. Yeah. So that can also help you to keep the extra, weight away. So I don't know if there's anything that I've left out, or if I remember something else, I can do another extra vlog. And that's the goodness with YouTube. I can always, come with better ways, come with other ways that I will have learned, and then add on top of this. But then with this, with that said, I hope, this video is going to inspire somebody. It's going to help somebody maybe start a certain kind of, routine. And if you have any questions, you have a comment, to make, if there's any other one that you think is working and I've not, talked about it, leave it in the comment section below so that even other people can be able, just to learn, because, life is for the living. Until then, bye bye.